Alright, hello all you crazy people out there, my name is Dragonite and welcome back to Harvest December. So, Mashiro's got a job babysitting with Yuki, which is like, I'm sure one of the last things he wants to do ever. Anyway, here we are back in the present day. I walked to Yuki's place after the terrifying ordeal in the bookshop. By the tall gates, there was a woman holding a baby standing next to Mashiro. Enemy of woman, I suppose that suits you, so the rumors had already reached her ears. So these two are... The short lady next to Mashiro was named Inukai. She had a high, sweet voice similar to that of an animation character, and she looked far younger than her years. Masaki Konno, nice to meet you. I'm Yuki Tawada. Thank you for trusting us with your child. Yuki's very fond of children. Alright, please take good care of her. Inukai looked a little intimidated by Yuki's enthusiasm. I've always traveled with Rin on my business trips, but this time I'll be flying a lot. So although I really wanted to take her with me, Mashiro explained Inukai was an entrepreneur. We will take very good care of Ren, I promise you. I hope your business trip goes well. You don't need to worry about her. That's reassuring. I took Ren from Inukai's arms while Yuki avidly listened to her talk about Ren's habits and feeding time. I listened too, just in case, although I was sure Yuki would want to do something. Baby Ren looked up at me. Reality is... Say it with me. Anyway, I sighed without finishing my sentence. For some reason, her weight dragged on my arms. I found it strange since she was definitely very much lighter than the beer cases I carried at Sine. Oh, the reason suddenly struck me. It's because you're alive. I had to be careful and stay aware of every movement she made. It was a strenuous thought to think that I had to care for someone else when I was already having enough difficulty taking care of myself. Her head. I looked up. Please support her head. Her muscles haven't developed yet. And Yukai looked at me with a serious face. Oh. It took me a few seconds to understand what she meant. I'm sorry, I'm not used to this yet. Please remember she's a live human being. And Yukai didn't look worried or uncertain anymore, but instead she projected a strength the way all mothers do. Curious of her sudden change, I faced her stare. Yuki was chatting with Mashiro nearby. Are you alright? What do you mean by that? You seem... She hesitated a little and looked down at her feet, unsure if she should say it. You just seem kind of unstable, I guess. I thought it was an impressionistic comment for an entrepreneur, but I also thought she hit the nail right on the head. I shifted my arms to support Ren's neck, and she seemed to settle quite comfortably in her new position. I'm counting on you. To be honest, I think Yuki will be doing most of the work. I don't think she is as capable as she thinks. I don't either, somehow. She will do her best. You don't look like the type of person who puts much value on how hard someone tries. I have the impression you put importance on the actual performance. You're right on that count. You're quite obvious. She didn't tell me why, but instead her expression clouded. I'll give you your money's worth. That's honest. She whispered some parting words to Ren before she turned around to leave. I was left alone. I looked down at the baby again. Maybe she instinctively knew her mother was going away. Her face crumpled as if it was about to cry. Her expression mirrored exactly what I felt inside. Baby to school. Alright. I'm sure this is gonna go just as well as ever. It was March, but in Tagami Town the snow still lay thick. I was pretty certain that I would win a national prize as most out-of-place student going to high school if there was a competition like that. Look at that, I heard the whispers. I knew it. Some nodded knowingly. He had it coming. Some prayed as I walked by. Some made sympathetic comments. But it wasn't as if any of them were going to help. All the people nearby were within my reach, but yet they were miles away. I bounced my shoulders a bit, and the voice coming from my back quieted down. I tried taking a deep breath. It was difficult because the strings of the baby carrier crossed in front of my chest. Ren began to shift around on my back. I wasn't used to having mobile creatures tied to me, so the sensation was weird and frankly uncomfortable. She would grab handfuls of fabric from my clothes too, squeezing them with her damp, sweaty hands, so by now my uniform was a wrinkled mess. Don't move. Listen to me, speaking as if you understand, I muttered to myself as I made my way down the snowy road. Halfway, I pulled out the rattle Inuka gave me, and shook it before her nose. She laughed. Just like that. So easy. Weren't humans supposed to be complex creatures? I palmed my face. The people around me burst out laughing. Apparently I painted a funny picture holding a baby rattle looking pained. I'm sure he does. Do your best, some junior that I didn't know called out to me. The worst part of the whole situation was that everybody in town was beginning to accept my current situation as natural. For the past 2 miles, probably 100 people bowed and greeted me, calling me Sir, Young Master, or Sir. Halfway through, I got tired of correcting them, and I realized this was probably how things turned to reality. I wonder what will become of you, I talked to Ren. The baby was supposed to be under the care of Tawada's family care during our time at school. But last night, I received a phone call from Yuki asking me to pick Ren up and take Ren to school today. Why? I thought it was a weird request, but considering the fact that Yuki wouldn't want to stay apart from Ren unless there was a very good reason, I agreed. And with that, my 3DS battery light just turned red. Ugh. I probably shouldn't keep my charger on the floor. Alright, it turned blue again pretty quickly. With that, where was I? I thought it was a weird request, but considering the fact that Yuki wouldn't want to stay apart from Ren unless there was a very good reason, I agreed. Okay, I read that one already. I also didn't think it was a good idea to leave Ren with my mom for a long period of time. Not after she said, "Huh? You're taking Ren to school? But I was going to play Bungee Baby with her." Mom! Mom! Yep, I think I did the right thing. You're late. You're early. What are you saying? It's already 7 in the morning. That's an hour before school starts. Yuki was waiting for me, standing proudly in front of the gates with her hands on her hips. So what are we supposed to do with this? Ren is not an object. I could tell she wasn't happy with me. What do you mean, what are we supposed to do? You're asking me to bring her to school. Yes, I thought it wouldn't be a good idea to leave her with Mommy-chan. That begs the question, how exactly did Masaki survive his childhood years? I want to know. Food for thought. Somehow I think you purposely pronounced my mom's name differently. Let's go. She wasn't listening again and turned to walk towards the school building. Hey, wait up. We haven't found a solution to our problem yet. What problem is there? There are so many I didn't know where to start. First, we've got to decide what we'll do with Ren. We'll take her with us. This is school. So? She kept on walking. Students naturally gathered around her as she approached the entrance. The girls looked up in awe as a pioneer of some sort that was actively living a life beyond her years. This is so unfair, I muttered as I noticed the murderous looks of envy I received around me from the boys that believed I was a pioneer in losing my virginity that was sexually actively living a life beyond my years. How wrong they were. I can't do baby noises. There's a lot of noises that I can't do in this story so far, I'll say. Anyway, Ren gurgled unhappily. I took out the rattle and began shaking it methodically. The people around me laughed. However, despite my making a fool of myself, Ren wasn't satisfied with my robotic shaking and began to complain. I was desperate. I looked down, looked up, and took a deep breath before yelling, "Work, damn it!" and shook the rattle hard as if I meant to break it. Nobody laughed this time. He's losing his mind. If I'm going to end up that pathetic, I don't think I want to grow up yet. Everybody seemed to pity me instead. Ren laughed finally. I screamed towards the winter sky. Blank you! Well, are you sure you want to be teaching her that words yet? How long have I been recording for? It's been like 9 minutes, so I want to continue. I'll continue. These chapters usually, they don't seem that long. There wasn't a word said. Unlike the students that teased, encouraged, and said whatever they wanted, there wasn't a single word said amongst the teachers regarding my bringing a baby to school. Ren was sitting in my lap, staring up at my teacher standing by the blackboard. Didn't Yuki want to take Ren? Why does Masaki have her? With a single phone call, I'm sure. From the expression on my teacher's face, I sensed the presence of Mashiro Tawada, who must have been doing something to gain his understanding. She must have made a phone call to the principal at some point. Nobody would refuse her request in this town. That saved me from having to explain myself, but it also meant that I was stuck with Ren for the entire day. Which was worse? She gurgled. I'm sure she had an opinion, but I couldn't understand it. Shut up, I whispered harshly. My legs were getting numb from carrying her weight for so long. Whenever I tried to take notes, she would flail her arms out and disturb me. I'm beginning to lose confidence that I can treat you as a morally correct human being. I'm beginning to lose confidence I can treat you as a morally correct human being should for the rest of the day. I muttered without looking at her. Ooh. Something changed about her. My irritation dissolved immediately, replaced with dread. Ren? Ooh, wah. I didn't even need to look at her to know what was coming. Her face crumpled and tears began to form at the edge of her eyes. Reality is merciless. I looked up at the ceiling. We all knew what would happen since we had some experience from the previous hour. As I began a silent countdown, the students around me got ready to cover their ears. I felt like crying too. 3, 2, 1. Are you hungry? The door burst open with such force, it detached from the hinges and fell down. The door... Really, Yuki? Really, Yuki? Good job, Yuki. She must have run from the other classroom down the corridor. She was slightly out of breath. Ren didn't cry, but her eyes were wide open in shock. It seemed she had lost her timing to throw a tantrum. Tawada-kun... The bell went off. Oh, never mind. The teacher gave up. I'm sure he had a very sensible argument on the tip of his tongue, but now the class was over and he couldn't be bothered about it anymore. We all felt a bit sympathetic as we watched him gather his notes with rounded shoulders. Hurry, where's the milk? Yuki took big strides towards me, oblivious to her surroundings. You knew she was going to cry? Of course! But you were in the other room down the corridor, I wanted to say, above so many other things. How? I kept my question simple. It's called love. Her answer was just as simple. Her reason was the almighty power everybody believed in. Baby at lunch. Okay, that was really short. That was only like 3 minutes. It's been about 12 minutes. I'm gonna end this off here. What are they doing outside? That sounds like a leaf blower, except I almost said it's March. It's almost May. And I don't think anybody's got any business with a leaf blower outside. I hope you can't hear that rumbling noise. Anyway, my name is Dragonite. I hope you all enjoyed that, and I will see you all later.